Welcome to the Focus Life Institute. This is Dr. Ed Two Rose, your focus coach. Today I want to deal with a serious situation that's affecting the Gen Z community, 16 to 26-year-olds, specifically why a lot of businesses won't hire Gen Z. And young people coming into these organizations are not prepared for the real world. And we're starting to see right now that businesses are reacting, saying, I really don't want to hire them because there's a lot of issues. I want to deal with those issues today. Number one, of what they're saying, but I'm going to give you some solutions to help you, maybe as a parent or a Gen Z individual, help you understand how you can secure your desired job, stick with that job, advance within the organization. But there's some things we have to deal with right now, knowing that Gen Z is a group of individuals right now to make up about 27% of the global workforce by the end of 2025. And so this is a pretty significant group. And we know that in the United States, almost 48% of Gen Z have already entered the workforce, leaving about 35% in school. So there are individuals who've gone in the workforce right now, but there's a lot of people coming up right now that don't have specifically the prepared skills that employers are dealing with. And we'll talk about the essential soft skills today, but let's talk about why companies are reluctant to hire Gen Z. Number one, and I've seen this through LinkedIn. They've been saying this for a lot of years. There's perceived a soft skills gap. You might have the hard skills if you went to college or a 2-year degree, but now you're coming into the workforce right now, and they lack the essential soft skills. Now, what we're talking about is the top 10 soft skills that I deal with in my Focus Life Institute. I want to be able to help you from a personal basis understand how important these soft skills are. Now, I was a manager in Fortune 100 for 37 years. I was 10 years with Unilever, one of the largest packaged goods company in the world, and 27 years as a manager and trainer with the Coca-Cola company. I saw something when I retired that there was some issue with this generation coming up not being prepared because high schools and colleges, let's face the fact, are not preparing young people for the real world. In fact, nearly 1 in 8 hiring managers plan to bypass Gen Z altogether, citing deficiencies in these following areas. Number one, work ethic. Now, being in Fortune 100, obviously you have to have a strong work ethic. And as a manager, if I didn't see your strong work ethic, you're fired. I'm moving on to the next person who really wants to have, I understand, a work-life balance, but guess what? You have to have a strong work ethic. Number two is professionalism. I remember when things changed back in the late 90s when there was business casual came on the scene. When I was working for Coca-Cola prior to that, it was a sport coat, suit, blue or white shirt, and a tie. And then about 1998, around that time frame, business casual came in. And now it's at the point where you can wear anything you want to wear into an organization, and some organizations allow that. But I'll tell you what, there's a professionalism that you need to be able to understand how important that is, especially when you're dealing with customers and clients. One view of you maybe walking down, your pants are sagging down, or maybe you're in a pair of jeans when you should be in a pair of dress pants, a business casual, can really make the difference in terms of not only interviewing, but also a situation when you're involved with customers and clients. I remember the Coca-Cola company was downsizing one of the divisions, and I was part of a different division, but they were bringing some people over from the other division, and I had to re-interview for my job. Now, I had a successful career with them, but it was all just protocol to do that. Out of all the people to interview for the job, myself and one of my peers walked in there with a suit on. Nobody else did. All I can tell you is that I kept my job. A lot of people didn't keep their jobs, and some of that is based on professionalism. And then be able to be tech ready. Are you able to deal with AI and all the situations going there? But I tell you what, it's really some of these situations right now with this poor work ethic, excessive phone use, and unprofessional behavior in the workplace. This is why I teach on the top 10 essential soft skills. I talk about communication. And that's the number one soft skill that you need to have if you are going into the workforce. And you need to do the ABC, what I teach. You need to adapt, blend, and connect your personality style with others. Now, I teach on the DISC, D-I-S-C personality profiling system. I have my own DISC, and I have a chance for you to identify who you are in your gift cluster. But the most important thing that I've taught my children, my grandchildren, I've taught schools, colleges, universities, is that how do you understand the motivations of others? Boy, if you understood when you walked in a room that that's a dominant person, I've got to speed it up. That's a people person, I got to let them talk. That's a stable and secure person, I got to make sure I slow things down, make it easy for them. And there's a compliant person over there that needs all the details and facts, and I better provide those for those individuals. So it's you adapting, blending, connecting your personality style with others. And that's what they're saying that one of the problems is right now is they lack that. I also teach on collaboration. How do I collaborate with a team? Conflict resolution. I deal with that. Decision making, problem solving, time management. In our courses, we have 5 courses in 40 days to help you prepare for the real world. And one of those courses is Skills for Success. And it takes the top 10 essential soft skills that you need to have. And I created that based on your own personality style. So if I'm a dominant person and I'm dealing in the area of collaboration, I got to know how to deal with the 84% of the people that aren't like me. And so it comes down to the point you need to understand how important it is to walk in a professional behavior and understand that most companies have a code of conduct. When I worked for Coca-Cola, we had a code of conduct. You had to operate a certain way. You had to sign that code every year to be able to walk in that culture of that organization. Now, one of the most disheartening things out there in the world today is that you better know the culture you're getting into. Because I'm a man of faith. I tell you what, I do things a certain way with integrity, and most companies do, but there are some cultures out there that you got to make sure you wrap yourself around and understand that culture before you go on, proceed, and take a position within the organization. That culture may be completely counter to what you're used to, and you're going to have a hard time with that. Also, a survey said right now that there's a lack of sensitivity and a lack of resilience with this Generation Z due to reputations of being entitled and easily offended. Let me tell you something. Offense is going to come. When you're dealing with people and organizations, you're going to be rejected. You're going to potentially have offenses come your way. I love what the Bible says. It says everybody's going to be offended. Don't take the offense, okay? Don't get offended when people come to you. Understand to be teachable and trainable within an organization. You've got to get rid of this entitlement attitude, okay? This is just something that's out there in the world today. Oh, I have a degree. I should be up here. Well, most of the times when you start an organization, you're down here. I had a chance to talk to a vice president of a major Christian college, well-known in my area, and I sat down with the vice president. I said, tell me about your alumni coming back. They said, the first thing, they're very disheartened. I said, why are they disheartened? He said, because they come out with this degree from our college, and we think we're up here, and they start down here in an organization, and they don't know what to do to close the gap. They might share their faith, and they get turned down. They get rejected. They might get offended. And what I teach on is that you've got to serve your way up. I have a specific program in my 5 courses in 40 days. And a separate course, if you want to check it out, is called the Heroes Effect. And the Heroes Effect is an acronym for H for honor in an age of dishonor. This is how you need to operate within an organization. E for excellence in an age of average. Most people just do what they're told to do. They don't go beyond and do things with excellence. R is for responsibility in the area of entitlement. O is for order right now in an age of independence. I'm doing my own thing. I'm listening to my boss. Well, guess what? You're not going to be around a long time. And guess what? If you come into management and you've not submitted to that person that's over you, guess what? You're going to sow what you reaped, right? You're going to reap what you sow. You're going to be in a situation right now that's going to happen to you that obviously you're not going to get people to submit it to you. And then finally, you have a situation for E stands for expectation versus pessimism. And then finally, S stands for servanthood in an age of individualism. You've got to serve your way up. The reason I was successful in Fortune 100 for 37 years, I operated in the heroes principle and I served my way up to gain influence and increase and advancement. And that's one thing you need to understand. There's some negative traits out there that Gen Z is lazy. They're lacking communication skills, poor first impressions, and excess anxiety about criticism. Listen, you're going to be criticized. You're going to have to take some of this stuff and be teachable. Every time somebody would say, you didn't do it right, Ed, or you need to take this responsibility or criticize me, guess what I did? I understood and I took that and I gleaned from that. I was able to make things right and improve myself in my organization. And a lot of worse things we're seeing right now, a lot of Gen Z are leaving organizations after 6 or 8 months. Now, one of the struggles is that a lot of Gen Z have grown up. Maybe their parents were downsized. I was downsized twice, once with Unilever, and then once with the Coca-Cola company. But they called me back 3 years later and gave me everything back. But I'll tell you what, when you see that happening right now, the perception is a company is not loyal to me when I'm trying to be loyal to a company. I can tell you this: loyalty is royalty. Hear what I said? Loyalty is royalty. You're going to understand how important it is to be loyal. I would hire loyal people, okay? I'm not saying that it comes to a place where somebody offers you a lot more money and prestige, you might take that. That's what happened to me when I was a manager with Unilever. I would train up my sales reps, and at that particular time, they would get a really good base salary, and all of a sudden, a major other company would come in and take them away from me and basically steal my employees after I trained them for 2 years. Very, very disheartening for me to be able to understand these people that I trained were, I thought, loyal to me. That's why when I hire people, I look at a values profile to see their value system. If there's an independent type of spirit there, they're going to be gone quickly. They're going to look for another job. So I want loyalty as royalty. And I'm starting to see some of the statistics just came out that young people, where we had a big transition of people leaving work and that back in 2020, 2021 with COVID. Now they're starting to say that young people are staying within their job. They're content with it. They believe they have a good job and looking to advance within an organization, or at least be content and have a good work-life balance and be content in that situation. Another one right now is that some of the hiring managers might have a bias against Gen Z because of a lack of experience and a lack of professionalism, even though such bias is illegal. But there is that out there, so you've got to watch that. And that's why it's so important when I teach on the behavioral interview process. That's part of my skills for success. I put that in there at the end because everybody talks about the behavioral interview. How do I understand the motivations of an HR person when I'm interviewing with them? How do I adapt, blend, and connect, and get in sync? And a lot of us use that STAR technique. Give me a situation you were involved with. What were the tasks? What were the actions? What were the results? So you'd like to have 2 or 3 of those in your, in your pocket when you come in and talk about yourself. That these are the things I've done, and that STAR technique will help you secure your desired job. A lot of employers are simply preferred older people who are more experienced candidates. And this is a problem right now. Some of these people need to retire. I knew it was time for me to get out, and I trained my replacement. The person that came to me, I trained a young lady that took my position from me, and I taught her what I did and showed her how I had sheer leadership and what I did and the culture I created within my organization of the local 5 markets, the $75 million territory that I was running for the company. So there are some gaps right now in this readiness and skills that Gen Z is experiencing. So let's talk about some things that we can help you with in terms of how do I bring the practical application in your life that maybe help you understand it's very important right now to persevere, be resilient, understand that critique's going to come, but what can I learn, what can I glean from that to be teachable as I begin to move forward? So I put together on the Focus Life Institute 5 courses right now in 40 days. And what I did was I put together the HEROES principle, as I mentioned before. And the HEROES principle, when you think about it, is really based on virtues that are lost in society. And I'll tell you what, businesses want strong virtues and they want strong values in their people. And so this is why that part of that course I put in, the first thing I deal with is the character issue and the virtues of people. You might have a great work ethic, but have a poor character. You might have great character and a poor work ethic. And so you're trying to get the balance there. I was just talking on the phone with some of my focus coaches out in South Africa, and that's what they're seeing out in the South African market, that they either have character and no work ethic or work ethic and no character. And we're trying to bridge that gap with the skills that we teach. So that HEROES effect of honor, excellence, responsibility, order, expectation, servanthood is something I've incorporated. I put multiple examples in there how to do it and some testimonies in there how important that is to be able to do that and train in the area of specifically professionalism. And then I moved the second course of the Focus Life Institute. We talk about finding life's direction. We're talking about finding basically what you're called to go do in your life. You need to know who you are, what you have, and how to apply it. What I do, I talk about understanding your passion areas, taking your personality style to the disc and understanding your gift cluster. understanding what you were born with and what you have. We can always add the skills. We'll talk about that in a second. But we talk about understanding maybe your spiritual gifting, how that applies in the workplace. And it really does, okay? And then you're talking about what spheres of influence should you get into? Should be in business or government or education or arts and entertainment or family or media, religion. Where should you end up based on profiles we give you to show you how you can be successful? And that peels that onion to the place. Now you take the DISC personality style, and then we match up your personality with jobs in the 16 career clusters. You might choose 2 or 3 of the clusters, say maybe STEM, for example, and then you start looking at what jobs are in the STEM area of that career cluster. It might be in engineering, whatever it might be. Now there's a hand-in-glove fit. Now you're able to enjoy your work. Now, the Pew Foundation came out here recently and said there's 3 things that parents want. Number 1, they want their child to be free from anxiety and stress. I tell you what, when you get a vision statement and you have a purpose of your life, you're going to relieve all that anxiety and stress off your children. That's why you got to help them, and we do that in that Finding Life's Directions. And once they get that situation there, specifically about hand-in-glove fit with the jobs, guess what? The second thing we talk about is writing a vision statement and then have them set goals, personal education, career goals. But the second thing the parents said was financial security. They want their children to be financially secure. Well, if you got the right job and you enjoy your job, you're probably going to be financially secure. And the last thing is job satisfaction. Will my child like what they do? My son-in-law is a senior engineer. He loves what he does. It's not really going to work. It's just enjoy it. I was a sales manager, and I love managing people. I love going to customers. I love serving people at that level. And so that was a very powerful situation. But then we come to the place of the skills for success that I was talking about, when they're saying basically young people lack communication skills, collaboration, conflict resolution. How do I adapt, blend, and connect with people? Time management, decision-making, problem-solving, confidence, creativity, character. These are type of skills and people skills that I put into this module to help you counteract what employers are saying right now that you don't have the skills. Guess what? You might learn those skills specifically maybe on the job, but I guarantee you, high schools and colleges, they are not teaching these practical skills. Just look at all the research right now why young people are not prepared for the real world, and a lot of it has to do with the lack of practical application. See, I'm a practitioner. I'm not a theorist. I won't give you practical tools. So what I did was I created these courses to match up your own personality style and then be able to deal with all the issues of communication or time management, decision-making, problem-solving based on your own personality style or the personality style of the child if you're a parent watching this thing. So now there's a practical hand-to-glove fit and teaching them on the skills for success. I then go into the place of entrepreneurship because you might want to work for a company for a couple of years and you feel maybe you're an entrepreneur. We see that happening with a lot of young people right now, influencers, etc. But guess what? You should work for somebody, first of all, to find out the best way to do it. My chiropractor is a prime example of that. When he came out of college, he worked for 2 other chiropractors. He worked for them for 2 years, and they taught him all the inside information, how to write insurance information up, how to do everything right. He worked in the office, he worked in administration, he worked obviously on people, and then they funded him to go out and start a chiropractic office about 60 miles away from them, and then within 18 months, he paid them completely back. But guess what? He knew what he was going to do, and he became an entrepreneur with his own business in that specific area. And then we talk about not only understanding how to write a business plan, but what are the characteristics of an entrepreneur. And then I go into the focus, create a focused lifestyle. How do I stay focused in the area in the age of distraction? Listen, you know how distracted you are on a phone. My goodness, the average person spends about 3 to 4 hours on their phone a day beyond the work aspect of emails, etc. And so we've got to understand how to stay focused. Where are you going to put your effort? Where are you going to put your energy? What is the power of focus? How about a focused environment? You get away into an environment for 30 or 60 minutes a day and just meditate and be able to shut everything down, be able to find out direction for your life. Powerful meditation. And I'm a faith-based man, and I love spending time in God's presence because that's powerful for me, because that's how I can come in and know that I'm on assignment and I'm doing what I'm called to do. Now remember, your job, anybody can have a job. Job is your gift cluster, okay? When I worked for the Coca-Cola company, I was a manager and trainer. That was my job. But guess what? My work is my assignment that I believe God's given each and every one of us. That we have an assignment, and it's called work. That's why when I go to work, I'm looking to be on assignment. Who can I serve? Who can I bless? Who can I encourage? Who can I exhort? I'm an exhorter. How can I go in and help somebody? Because people are hurting this day and age. So when you go in an organization and you're doing things of honor and doing things with excellence and you're serving your way up within organizations, I'm going to tell you from personal experience, you're going to gain great favor, great influence. And when they're looking to promote somebody, they're going to look at you because you had these skills and you had these virtues and values and this information that we've equipped you with to be able to stay focused and targeted of what you're supposed to do in life. I want you to fulfill your destiny. I want you to fulfill your assignment in life, your calling, because you have one. And you got to understand how important it is right now that these type of skills that we're talking about are skills that you can be able to be equipped and trained in. But guess what? We're all busy, right? And so I've got extracurricular activities I'm dealing with. Parents are both working, homework, all the things going on in life. And guess what? Before you know it, you're graduating and you're not prepared for the real world. They're saying right now that over 70% of young people do not feel fully prepared for the real world. And guess what? Many times when you go into school and you're dealing with a guidance counselor, the average guidance counselor spends about 38 minutes with a child, 38 minutes specifically, guess what? In 4 years, 38 minutes in 4 years. Now, they're dealing with social emotional learning right now than they are maybe about helping you with a career choice. They might take you over to a career fair. So I walk into a career fair and there's 75 booths out in this gymnasium and I got to go out there and I got to find out what I'm supposed to go into. When I've not first taken our course and identified my personality style, my 16 career clusters, I took 3 of those. I identified about 10 jobs I'd like to do, and then I can go to these specific booths and spend time with them and identify how I can shadow with them or go work with them and be able to understand the opportunity, maybe get an internship, etc. And so we waste our time and energy because we're not prepared. And that's why I created this Focus Life Institute to help people understand the flexibility of understanding that if you get these training, you're going to be able to adapt, blend, connect, be flexible with people, and see greater levels of success. And so, one of the most important things right now is how do I help my child, or if you are a young person right now, Gen Z, how do I spend my time and be able to identify these key areas that I'm missing right now? That's why I do a lot of profiles in the courses. We have 5 courses in 40 days, very low price, 50% off right now online at focuslifeinstitute.com. But I tell you what, it's going to help you as a parent sleep at night. It's going to give you peace of mind, not knowing, oh my goodness, I talked to so many parents and I said, how's your child doing? Oh, they changed their major twice. The average cost right now of changing a major in college right now is $12,000 per change. And the average is 1 to 3 changes. 80% change their major 1 to 3 times. 30% right now drop out in the first 2 years. That's frightening. But listen to this statistic. 52% of college graduates are not even working in the discipline they went to school for. Can you imagine that? I just spent $150,000 on my kids' education, and they came out and they're working over here flipping burgers or doing something. Nothing wrong with that. But guess what? I have an expectation that my children are going to get a degree. And sometimes in your mind as a parent, you perceive that, hey, guess what? That college should be getting my child a job. All they do is open up the door. But I'll tell you what, they still aren't preparing you with the practical skills. LinkedIn's been saying it for 20 years. They don't have the essential soft skills. What I'm trying to do, when I retired, I could have went to Florida. I could have went to Arizona. I got a great, pension with the company. But guess what I did? I'm not on a golf course. I'm here to help serve this generation because I have a passion to help this generation get focused and understand they have an assignment and calling in life. And somebody has to train them. They're not getting into schools. They're not getting to colleges. Businesses, I tell you what, when you go work for a business, and I've been in big business and small business working with them as a consultant, most of them have a very poor training program. They throw you in there and just go ahead and go do it. And many times I've dealt with that and I've counseled people how to help them through that process. But guess what? You got to understand somebody needs to equip and train these people. I believe that's my calling. That's my assignment. That's what I'm called to go do is equip, educate, and really empower young people to identify their assignment and calling in life so they can fulfill their purpose and their destiny. And that's why I created these 5 courses in 40 days to help individuals like you or your children get focused and be able to have the tools they need so when they walk into an organization, they know how to communicate. They know how to collaborate within a team. They know how to reduce conflict. They know how to make the right decisions. They know how to have time management. They know how to solve problems. They know how to have people skills, be able to understand the motivations of others. They know how to interview successfully. And obviously the opportunities, they're going to have the virtues now in the Heroes Effect. I've written 3 books on that. One a faith-based book, one a marketplace book, and another one, Be a Hero for young kids, to be able to help them understand how important it is to have these virtues in your life. And when you operate in these virtues, I'll tell you what, things change. I've been teaching this for a long time, and I'll tell you what, I'm seeing the lives of young people change. Parents are coming to me. School systems are coming to me. They're saying, why goodness, when we taught the Heroes Effect, we're seeing lives change. And parents are saying, boy, this is pretty cool because my kids are honoring me. My kids are doing things with excellence. They're making their beds. They're not just doing things to get it done. They're taking their time. They're taking personal responsibility. They're in order. They're in expectation. They have a positive attitude. They're motivated. And guess what? They are serving their way up. We serve in my community right now since COVID 2020. We have a food distribution program where we are. And when we started, we had like 704 boxes, and the line was unbelievable. We've been doing that for 5 years now. This is 2025 at the time of this training I'm teaching you today. And we've given away $35 million in food to help people, continue to help people in the area of food distribution. My grandchildren are now on that line passing out food. And I tell you what, the joy to see my grandchildren serving other people, and it's going to take them to the next level of success in their life. Volunteering, serving is so important. So many times you feel like you're entitled, this generation, when they need to serve their way up. And that's what I did at the Coca-Cola company. My boss would tell me, she said, you know something, Ed, nobody's really like you because I've never seen anybody serve other people within the organization. And I had younger people when I retired, my retirement party. I taught the Heroes Effect to all my peers. My boss let me teach. He gave them a book, signed it, and had a really good time of teaching them on these core competencies of these virtues. And my boss got up, she says, this man right here, he does specific, he prays for the organization. He's one that we go to right now. But I tell you what, he's a man who serves people and served his way up. And I'll tell you what, the influence that I gained and the opportunity of advancement within the organization was there because I made a decision that I would operate in these core values and virtues. And so understand this. You don't have to be the 1 out of 6 companies that aren't going to hire you. You can be somebody right now that invests in themselves and take the 5 courses in 40 days and go out there and begin to start understanding what you need to have. 1 hour a day. You can work at your own pace. This is for every person in the family. How many children do you have? 2 or 3, grades 9 through 12 through college. This is information. You might want to take some of these as a parent on your personality in that because you might have some situation when you're the opposite style of your children. But I'll tell you what, I've taught my children, my grandchildren, this is in schools, universities, colleges, this is in high schools, this is in homeschools. This is a program right now that really can help your child be successful at a real low price, 50% off. So I encourage you, go over to FocusLifeInstitute.com. See what we have. Take a look at the information. Everything is laid out there. All our courses are laid out, specifically what you're going to see and how it's going to apply to your life. But I'll tell you what, once you do that, you're going to see a difference in yourself or in your children to be able to understand they are prepared for the real world. And guess what? You can sleep at night and understand that they're going to have a successful life. Again, we're here to educate, equip, and empower your child so they can fulfill their purpose and destiny. Until next time, this is Dr. Ed Two Rose. And remember this, your focus, it does determine your future.